Heritage Action for America. Today we're going to give you some tips and tricks for writing an effective letter to the editor. Letters to the editor are an effective way to amplify your voice and to get a message to your member of Congress. Letters to the editor can be in response to a specific news article or political event. They are a way to present your facts, thoughts, and opinions to your local community and readers of the paper. Today, news organizations will also post the letter online, giving you an easy link to share your thoughts on social media with an even larger group of people. Another benefit to writing a letter to the editor is that many staff members for congressmen will clip anything from the local newspapers that mentions the congressman's name. This means that your letter to the editor will usually be clipped and handed directly to the congressman as they read their previous day's media mentions. Letters to the editor matter. Today we are going to break down writing a letter to the editor and getting it published. We are going to break this intro into 3 sections. Section 1, how to write your letter. Section 2, tips to edit and refine your letter. And Section 3, how to submit it to a local newspaper. So let's start with Section 1, how to write your letter. Letters to the editor should be personal, short, and lay out the facts of your argument. There are many ways that you can write a letter to the editor, but here's a formula that we at Heritage Action use. It has 3 simple parts. First, peg, a 1-sentence introduction or hook. 2, identify the problem with 2 facts or reasons, and then finally wrap it up with a promise, a 1-sentence solution. So let's break that down again. First, peg. You need an interesting fact, anecdote, or story to get people interested in your letter. This can be a personal connection like this. As a local farmer, I found your characterization of the necessity for farm subsidies to leave out some crucial details. Or a fact like, Obamacare's regulations accounted for a 68% increase in premiums. This is why I experienced double-digit increases in my healthcare costs. Second, the problem. This is where you directly address a bill or debate happening before Congress and point out with facts and reasoning why the author is wrong. This is usually 1 to 2 facts with a sentence of commentary in between it. Here's an example. Your article said that premiums did not increase as a result of Obamacare. However, a recent Department of Health and Human Services report found that average monthly premiums increased from $224 in 2013 to $476 in 2017. That constitutes a 105% increase in only 4 years. My own premiums here in Ohio saw a 76% increase during that same time period. Or something like this. Some members of Congress are neglecting to mention the negative effects of the massive farming subsidies that the taxpayers are funding. In reality, commercial farms represent only about 10% of all farms in the U.S., but account for 76% of the value of production. With nearly 95% of all farm subsidies going to just a few crops, these programs represent a massive example of the government playing favorites and intervening in the free market. The third section, promise. The final section is a promise or your solution to solve the problem you already introduced. This often takes the form of telling your congressman to vote a certain way or to take a specific stand on a piece of legislation. Here's an example. Ohioans have suffered enough. It's time for Senator Portman to vote in favor of real repeal of Obamacare. Another example would be, Representative Johnson should not support any farm bill that continues central planning and corporate welfare, 2 things that have no business in the farm handout system. So here's an example of how a peg, problem, and promise could fit together to create a full letter to the editor. As a doctor of 6 years who has cared for over 500 patients in the Cleveland area, your characterization of Obamacare in your July 5th piece leaves out some crucial details. Your article said that premiums did not increase as a result of Obamacare. However, a recent Department of Health and Human Services report found that average monthly premiums increased from $224 in 2013 to $476 in 2017. That constitutes a huge 105% increase in only 4 years. My own premiums here in Ohio saw a 76% increase during that same time period. Ohioans have suffered enough. it's time for Senator Portman to vote in favor of real repeal of Obamacare. Section 2. How to edit and refine your letter. Now that you've thought through your arguments, it's time to proofread and refine your letter to the editor. Here are 6 tips for writing a good letter to the editor. First, focus on one issue. Second, use a professional tone. Third, know the facts. Fourth, make a personal connection. Fifth, keep it short. And sixth, and probably most importantly, proofread. 1. Focus on the issues. First and foremost, it's important to keep your focus on one particular issue. You need to use facts about this issue to support your argument. 2. Use a professional tone. No matter what, make sure to keep a polite and formal tone throughout the letter. 3. Know the facts. If you assert or proclaim anything in your letter, you have to be able to back it up with solid evidence. Find reliable and up-to-date information by doing some research. A great place to start is using news outlets such as the Daily Signal or visiting the Heritage Foundation's website and searching by issues. 4. Make a personal connection. Make a personal connection to the topic you're writing about. Do you have a story about how this issue has affected your business or home? Including these types of stories makes your argument more compelling and credible. 5. Keep it short. Keep your letter short and concise. Most local papers have a limit of up to 250 words. Some larger outlets have even shorter limits. Be sure to know these requirements before you write your letter. 6. Proofread. Check for spelling and grammar errors. And it's always good to have another set of eyes proof your letter before sending it to a local paper. You can ask someone you know to read over it and make sure it's easy to understand as well. Section 3. Getting your letter published. So far, we've gone over what to include in your letter to the editor and some tips to proofread and make your letter professional. Remember, your Heritage Action Regional Coordinator is also a great resource to look over your letter and help you craft the most compelling message. And also know which local papers are most likely to publish your letter. Now it's time to submit your letter to your local paper. Go on the website of your local paper and look for the submission guidelines for a letter to the editor. Usually they will provide an email address to send the letter into, or they will offer a box where you can copy and paste your letter into the website to submit it to the paper. If they don't list the submission guidelines on the website, you can always call and ask what the process is for submitting a letter to the editor. Now all you have to do is sit back and wait. Not all letters to the editor get published, but if you make a compelling argument and a personal connection, hopefully your letter will be set apart from the rest. Congrats! Now we have walked through how to write a letter to the editor, how to edit it, and how to submit it to your local paper. Heritage Action and your regional coordinator are always here as a resource for you to help you write and publish your letters. And if you get a letter published, we want to help spread the word. Make sure to send a copy to your regional coordinator, or you can send it to info@heritageaction.com. This way we can share on social media and celebrate with you when you get your letter published. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see your letter published soon.